Welcome to Tech. I'm Alex. How are you doing? I have Android Nougat here on my Nexus 5X, and I rekindled my relationship with this device last week. The day everybody started getting Android Nougat, I pulled out my 5X and I started using it on 6.0, and I was lucky. I got to use it for 2 days, so I got reacquainted with Marshmallow on here before I got the update to Nougat, and I threw it on there, updated it as soon as I got it. I got the OTA, so I didn't flash it. And then I spent the weekend and a couple days this week using this phone. And I gotta say, the phone is, there's some things that I like and some things I don't like about it with Nougat on here. And I've noticed some differences between Marshmallow and Nougat in terms of performance. So that's what this video is about. Let's talk about it really quickly. The first thing I want to bring up is the camera. So the Nexus 5X has always had a good camera. But after not using it for a while and picking it up and using it to snap photos this weekend, I was surprised how good the camera was. I forgot how good the camera was. The camera is actually really good on this phone. However, I've noticed performance on the camera has kind of boggled down a little bit. I don't ever remember the Nexus 5X camera app ever crashing, and it crashed 3 times this weekend for me on separate occasions. I don't know, maybe the phone was too hot. It was pretty hot this weekend here, but that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. The camera never crashed before. And switching between the video recording and the camera app, sometimes it would lag. It would lag pretty hard. So it seems to be working here. It might be a heat issue because it was pretty hot outside. And this was a black phone, so it might absorb. But that's not a good sign if the heat influences the phone this dramatically with the camera app. Second thing I wanted to talk about is the settings. So the settings is a little different. This is probably the most significant difference we've seen on the settings menu since the upgrade from KitKat to Lollipop, which was a couple years ago. The settings it's a little different. It feels a little longer to me for some reason. It feels like there's actually more stuff on the menu now than there was in the past. And that might be because it's expanded. There's additional information in the settings. So that might be why I feel like it's a little longer, a little more confusing than before. It feels like it's a little more messy, a little more information. And that's something you need to get used to. And I'm still trying to get used to that. Locations and stuff like that of where your settings are, it's still pretty much the same. There's just a few things that are different. So, and the side pulling out thing, you'll never use that. You'll never use that. I've noticed I've never used that. Another thing I never use is the dual split screen stuff. I tried. I really went out of my way to try it the first couple of days to try to change my way of life and use it. It didn't work out. I stopped using it after a day because it's just really inconvenient. Some of the apps don't work on it, and as I said in the Nougat video that I did, it doesn't tell you which app doesn't work with it on the recent app screen. What you have to do is you have to manually drag it, and it'll tell you after you set it up like that this app might not work with it. It's not like how Samsung or LG, they have these little icons on the tab that tell you if it's compatible or not. So that's something that I just gave up on. I mean, if you do use recent apps and the split screen stuff a lot, you'll know which app works because you use it so often. But for the first few times, or for people who don't use it often, you'll probably never use this because it is a smaller screen too. It's not like a tablet. The Pixel C is a different story. I have a review coming out with the Pixel C post Nougat, and that's a different story because of the more real estate. But I never use that. What I do use more in this update is the double tap to switch between your last 2 apps. That thing is very convenient. For example, I was playing Pokemon Go, and I had a couple Facebook Messenger and text messages that were going in and out. Great thing about it is you can be playing, double tap, switches to your last app, and then the app before that. Perfect. That's exactly what we really need for multitasking. So from a multitasking standpoint, that was much more beneficial to me than the split screen on a 5.2-inch device. But other than that, the experience is about the same. Performance is about the same. It's still relatively smooth. I think the 808 is showing its age here. Not that it was always a great processor. It wasn't that great of a processor to begin with, but 2 gigabytes of RAM is also showing its age. Multitasking stuff lags a little bit more here than what I remembered it when I first got this device. And the last thing I want to talk about is the battery life. So battery life, we have a few things that will supposedly improve the battery life with Nougat that works on the software, which is we have, what's it called? Doze on the go. Oh my gosh, Doze on the go. How we have Doze on the go on the phone, and it's supposed to activate Doze when it's sitting in your pocket, in your pant pocket, your jacket pocket, so it knows when it's not being used and while you're traveling, while you're moving. Doze didn't do that in the past. It had to be set down on a hard surface, not touching, not moving, not you know that's how Doze originally worked. But Doze on the go is supposed to help your battery life. It hasn't helped my battery life at all, actually. The battery life, I think it's worse than when I remembered it. Not that it was good in the first place. The battery life on the 5X was pretty bad in general. That's one thing that the 5X and the 5 shared, bad battery life. And the battery life is still really bad on this. I was getting like two and a half hours. I've been getting 2.5 hours on this phone since the very beginning. 2.5 to 3 when I first got it, and now it's just the weekend I spent with it, the 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Well, Friday doesn't count because I got the update on Friday. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and I had 2.5 hours to 2:45. So 2.5 to 2:45 was what I was getting on this of screen on time. Pretty bad, and I only got about maybe like 7 to 8 hours of life on this phone, so it didn't even last me a full day. Yeah, I'm thinking that the battery life isn't too good on this phone post Nougat, and that isn't too shocking because I've seen other phones where an update just deteriorates the battery life, like the Z5 Compact from Sony upgrading from Lollipop to Marshmallow absolutely killed the battery for me. So, I mean, it's not unheard of that this happens. Let me know if you're getting results like this or if it's just me, because battery life has not improved on my phone. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Android Nougat on the 5X. I've used it for 4 days, and I just wanted to give you guys an update of my experience with this device. It's still a pretty good phone, make no mistake about it. The Nougat adds certain things to it. Some people might find it beneficial, some others may not. But otherwise, it's still a really good phone for about $200. So with Nougat on it, I don't see why you should avoid the phone or avoid the update. It just seems like it works. Once again, my name is Alex from Hypnotech. Thank you guys for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, and comment. Let me know your experience with the Nexus 5X and Nougat. And even the 6P, I might throw it on the 6P. Lita 6P is just lying around, so she's using the Axon 7. We might throw it on there. But be sure to tune in for the Pixel C Nougat review. I'm going to actually do a full review with Nougat on the Pixel C. But once again, thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time. So I'm not sure why it says disconnected, but we will figure that out.